Can you hear it? Welcome to Relay.
Okay, once a year, we celebrate with stupid hats and plastic plates the fact that you were able to make another trip around the sun. The whole clan gathers round, and gifts and laughter do abound, and we let out a joyful sound and sing a stupid song. Happy birthday. Now you're 1 year older. Happy birthday. Your life still isn't over. Happy birthday. You did not accomplish much, but you didn't die this year. I guess that's good enough.
Wow, David, you sound a lot like an arrogant worm.
What? It's my favorite happy birthday song. I love it.
It is.
The best thing about birthdays is that you're 1 year closer to death.
This is a direct quote from our friendly neighborhood Shiver Bathory.
Yep. Or as we know and love him, Jake. No, I'm going to change that now. Okay, name is changed. Done.
Oh, bollocks. I could have been a
Jake or
CIT
Bathory?
employee. I could have been employed.
Look what you did to Jake.
I'm David.
Really? Are you sure?
No. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Relay Station. I know it's been a little bit since we've had one of these, but pandemics and illnesses and time is fungible. And, yeah, but we're back. Just like we
Always.
probably said we'd be back.
I did offer to do one-man relay station.
It's true.
Eric said, no, we'll get banned off Twitch. And I said, you're right.
And then I said, on second thought, have at her.
That sounds about right. Oh, wow.
So, hello everyone. Relay Station. This is the show where we actually do talk about Star Citizen. If you joined us earlier in the week on Tuesday, that's the show where we talk about video games. Now we're here to talk about Star Citizen, and we've got... Okay, I think we've said this about 1 million times, but we start the call a little early so I can, set things up and forget to check audio. But every week during that period where I'm cutting people's heads off and putting them where they belong on the screen, we have these rousing discussions about Star Citizen. And then we start the show and we're like,
Hello.
hello.
Our
Also,
names
thank you, Carbide
are
Edge.
Relay people.
Yeah. So, you know what? Screw it. This week we're going to start with a rousing discussion.
Okay. What are we
Maybe
rousing?
notice as you get older, like, you get hair everywhere. What the fuck's up with that? And now, right, my metabolism is fucked. I'm putting on weight. I genuinely sometimes consider just staying in bed and playing with my own tits. What's up with that?
Also in the pre-show, Shiver was like, we all sit around, we just derail everything by telling penis jokes. And Nakara was like, I mean, you do. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Let's talk. Sure, you had some questions about, and they're good questions, about the universe.
Oh god, yeah. So, trying to sound right. First of all, my disclaimer is I don't give a shit whether or not we end up with traditional instancing, this new funky instancing, 3-4 different versions. Whatever. I don't care. I just want to play the game. I would rather have the game the way it's been said. These are the mechanics that we're going to have, and have fun with whatever they let me play in. However, the whole... My understanding, and I could be wrong on this, so anyone jump in at any time to correct me, is that the way that they're aiming for right now is, okay, the first instance of server meshing and the way it's going to work is more like traditional instancing. Okay, whatever, that's cool. First instance, don't expect, anything amazing from it. Just version 1, version 2, version 3.
You mean every single person on the planet can't connect to Star Citizen in the same universe in the first instance of instancing? I am shocked and appalled.
In this instance, that is correct.
How many times can we use the word instance in one conversation?
Well, that was another instance of it.
I know. There are many instances coming up.
Are we allowed to use spin-off words like instantaneously?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Only
Only if you say it instantly, though.
But the eventual goal, and again, if I'm misunderstanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, is to not split the universe up so it's like these different... Let's say you're on Planet X, and Planet X is getting fuller and fuller, so the server has to be split up into these shards, but you're all essentially in the same planet, and these shards talk to each other. You are now going to have different versions, like 3 or 4 different versions. And the first one, let's say that's where you put your bases on shard 1. That's going to be reflected to shard 2, 3, 4, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if shard 1 is full, you'll go to shard 2. But you can't affect anything that's on shard 1.
So that's...
Well, except through the economy.
Except through the economy. Which, yeah, okay, that... Reasonable. Very much reasonable. That is, that's fine. However, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, it goes against the philosophy of one universe, which is what, as I understand it, has been touted for a fair old amount of time, at the very least. And also, if that is how it's going to be in the final version, if that is the aim, is instance 1, instance 2, instance 3, instance 4, and they can't affect the main one, but you can still do things that can have an effect on the global economy, that's going to be open for exploitation quite easily.
So I think there's...
But how would you purposefully exploit that?
Well, let's say I go and raid this base. It's been built on shard 1, but it's been reflected on whatever shard, and I go to a different shard. I can bomb the shit out of that base.
You can't choose which shard you're going to, though.
No, but if it's full, I'm going to be on there.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that the value of this base, or anything that can be salvaged from it, is duplicated. But without losing the base. Does that make sense to you? I mean, it's not the best of examples, I have to admit. But I am making money out of something that if there was only one shard, it would only be possible to do it once. But then, if there's 4 copies of the same thing, then then it's got 4 times the potential salvage value from it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're just going to, based on what, I know this might be a little weird for players, which is why I'm not sure if they're going to do it this way. But based on the way they're saying it now, I think you might just not be able to interact with that base at all. If it's not on the shard that it is active on.
I really, really don't think that's the way it's going to be.
I know, it's just the way it's worded right
and don't
now.
get me wrong.
And they say it's not final, so.
If that's how it is, that's how it is. I care. I don't care enough to go up in arms about it, but it does take a small fraction of the persistence out of the persistent universe. This base is invulnerable because I'm not on the right shard.
Based on how I read the whole server meshing stuff, is let's say Shiver builds a base on shard 1, and then I come along on shard 2 and destroy Shiver's base. I will destroy Shiver's base on shard 2, where it is a completely separate base. That will not be written back to Shiver's base on shard 1, right? So shard 1, wherever Shiver builds his base, that shard has write privileges, or sorry, all other shards have read privileges of that base on Shiver's shard. So all other servers can read Shiver's base on that shard and populate a base there. I come along and destroy that base on any other shard, and that destruction doesn't have write access back to Shiver's base. And I think the way you get around this being an economy breaker is just the sheer size of the universe. If there are...
what are the chances you're going to raid the same base on 4 different shards or something at the same time?
And even if you do, who cares? There's a base there, someone's destroying the base. Like, who cares?
And also, at the end of the day, the universe is going to be so large that hopefully these shards will only, you'll only have shard 1, 2, 3, and 4 on potentially humongous hubs anyway, where you shouldn't be able to blow up Earth HQ or something like that.
Well, and at the end of everything, their hope, the way it sounds anyway, is for there to only be, 4 or 5 shards for the entire world?
Based on the document, they say they would like to try to get it to 1.
Yes.
They're going to try. But they also do mention there's a bunch of technical hurdles to actually achieving that, but it is their ambition to eventually try to get it to 1 shard. They're going to start with lots of them, and then they're going to try and get it down to 1 per region, which is their first major goal. And then once they're down to 1 per region, which should be 4 or 5 in the world, then they'll try to get it down to 1. But
and hang on, because I really want to make this point, because Shiver, in the pre-discussion, you were saying that people are going to be assholes about it and claim, they're only going to get to 4 or 5 servers. They promised 1 war garble, right? Oh no, CIG have been unable to conquer physics. What bastards! Like when we get to that point, it's latency, and
with
that might
input.
Yes, it's
dynamic server meshing. It isn't going to be like Planet X is always shard 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's only going to be shard 1 has now reached capacity. We need to open up this shard. So it's not going to be a constant, if that makes sense. There shouldn't, unless there is a Zerg rush, like he says, this constant thing. But it is also something that you would never be aware of. But then how
you will be aware of it.
Detract from your actions?
No. So here's what I'm thinking.
Let's say there is this really rare instance. There's the word again. Everyone drink. Where you have got multiple instances, multiple shards. Sorry, of the same planet. You've been planning to raid this base, blow the shit out of it or whatever for however long. You've invested all this money on it. Bad fucking timing, because someone's discovered unobtainium on here and the whole place has been completely rushed over, and you end up on the fucking wrong shard. You can either not attack the base, or it's pointless. In effect, you're not actually destroying the base for advancement.
So they answered that.
Did they? Go on.
I don't actually remember where, but I know that someone was talking about it. Anyway, basically what they were saying is their goal is, let's say they have to split a shard. A shard off. Let's say an org has... I keep thinking the preeminent way you'd see this is an org attacking a space base, let's say. Right? Org wants to destroy space base. And we're going to go with the number 100. Not because the number 100 is the limit, but it's because it's a nice number to use for explanations. Sort of like how CIG used the number 100 in the description, not because that's the limit they're hoping for, but because it's a nice round number to use in a document. Okay, so let's say the capacity limit on a server is 100. right? So that, and you've got 100 people in your org attacking a base that has 100 people in it. You will, sorry, actually, that's not great. Let's say it's 50 and 50. There's 50 of one org, 50 of another org. And you are the 51st person in your org, right? It would not split. Well, no, but if there's 50 and 50...
No, I had the picture of this one guy just there in his fucking Hornet. Oh.
No, but it wouldn't split just the one person into another shard. It would split the two teams into 25 and 26, right? Into 50 and 50. Like, it's going to... They said at one point that they're going to take into account a whole bunch of stuff: economy, player skill, player the way people play, lawful players, non-lawful players. They're going to track all of that, and they're going to try and make sure that shards have a mixture of all kinds of players as well, so that all shards are slightly even, because they don't... One of the things they were saying they don't want to have is a purely lawful shard or a purely evil shard. They want there to be a mix.
You don't want to have a horde, a server, and an alliance server where
Yeah.
one side is just dominating.
So you're never, even if you attack this base with a whole bunch of other people and you're split off into another shard, you're going to be split off into another shard with a bunch of other people attacking that base. So you will still get that same base battle.
Still raises the question, and I know we are talking, hopefully, what should be the outside chances of any of this ever happening, but when you've got alliances as large as Test, it's going to happen. You're unsuccessful on the primary shard that has the read.
Yep.
You're successful on the second shard that has the no, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
You're successful on the shard that has the right, but you're unsuccessful on the shard that has, or whatever. Basically,
Yep.
One is successful, one is unsuccessful.
You're only successful on the... If you're attacking like a player base?
So it comes down to RNG to see if you're successful.
I don't know.
Even though you've earned, in one instance you have earned the destruction of this space.
But in that
another
instance,
you were really unlucky and you didn't.
In
But
that
it was
instance,
also
it's destroyed.
there was whatever chance you were on the right shard to actually make a difference.
And that might be what it comes down to. I feel like there's more for them to solve here still, and more for them to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. No, even they're like, none of this is... See, this is one thing people should not come back to and go, they promised to do this. Because everywhere in what they're talking about, they're like, this is how we're imagining it right now, and we're not sure, and we might have to change things, and, we're working on it.
I really like
these
that.
These things, it's really important to understand that a lot of this stuff is going to be worked out on a trial basis. They're going to try it and see how it works, and if it doesn't work very well, they'll go back to the drawing board and try again.
What I want to know is, if I die on one shard, but I respawn close enough, can I fly back into that shard and get my own body back?
Yes.
I did it. Got the...
No, Niskavian, if you're defending your own base, you would always be on the same base. Like, you will always be on the primary shard for your base.
Yeah, because, absolutely.
So could you not game that?
How?
Probably.
Could you not metagame that of, all right, look, we know a shard can have 100 people on it. Bring in 99 reinforcements. We win by default. Or it doesn't matter if they blow up anything else on the other shards.
How do you bring in anybody?
we're
You
on the
can't bring
primary
in
one.
anybody. It's all determined by their matchmaking system.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look at groups like Test. Like, we've got thousands of players. This place is under assault. All of you just come here, and we know it'll automatically split the place up into different shards.
I don't know how you can how that will work out. I'm sure that
I don't want anyone to think I'm trying to be negative. I'm literally just trying to poke holes
you're
in
asking
this.
questions, and these are good questions, because you know what? CIG has to answer all of them. All of these questions they have to have an answer for.
The thing I want to leave this part of the
Don't think
discussion
I'm
with,
trying
though.
to be negative.
No, and it doesn't come across as negative. It comes across as the way I see it as well, which is what they have listed sounds really freaking good.
Yeah, they're working very hard on it.
They're working really hard. I think it's really good that they were even able to tell us this much, because if they're able to tell us this much, you know that they think that this is going to work, right? Mm-hmm. It might not. Something might happen, but they are at least far enough advanced that they're like, yes, this is it. This is, as of right now, this is the solution, right? I think it's a good solution based on what I read. And yes, it's going to take time, but everything in Star Citizen is going to take time.
One thing that's important to note, though, is the difference between a server node and a shard. They're not the same thing. So, like, you can have many servers supporting a shard.
Yeah.
Because they have to, right? You need lots of servers in order to run all the different planets and all the different battles within that shard. So you don't necessarily need to...
Griffin.
Thank you, Griffin.
Griffin.
You don't necessarily need to, I think, especially as time goes on, their ability or their need to create shards dynamically is probably going to go down massively, because they can just increase the number of server nodes within a given shard. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what you're saying makes sense as well, but there's
You
also
can
a
spin up
limited
more
amount
servers to support that instance of the game.
to support that instance of the game, but there's a finite limit before you just have to stop, because other areas where there's still players will end up suffering.
I think
if you just go from we have 100 servers running this instance to we have 4,000 servers running this instance, should still all work.
I think
as long as you can dynamically spin up new servers on AWS to support that instance, you should be fine.
I think the point that we're gonna get out of this, the main takeaway that I get out of this is like not even the best case scenario right now. We think this is where we're gonna end up scenario is there are only going to be 4 servers for Star Citizen for the entire world. And when I look at like a traditional MMO, and it's like, there's dozens,
97 servers,
dozens and dozens of servers, and those servers can't interact with each other at all. Each of those servers has their own independent economy, their own independent everything. And if you create your character on a shitty server, that's it. You're just on I'm honestly mind blown by what they are hoping to accomplish.
I think it really helps that they separated the economy out so completely from the local instance, right? It is running on its own, and it can be on a higher level, so it can. And I think that's going to help, because it will keep the universe from diverging massively in any of the instances. Because the economy that drives the whole thing is not instance; it is shared. Yeah. So I'm. It's gonna be fascinating to see how it works. There are gonna be people who write freaking papers about the way that this whole fucking thing is working.
Okay, Shiver. I think there was one other thing that you had brought up, and I'm trying to remember what it was.
Refresh my memory. It's not what it used to be.
I don't know.
And were we talking about bad to begin with?
Okay, well, let's just move on to the show and tell, and we could talk about some of the stuff that was seen, and hopefully your memory will.
I do really like the fact that a missile will be able to cross multiple server nodes, not shards, but server nodes.
Nodes, yeah.
So you could fire a missile and it could go off across the fucking star system.
I mean, I know they're not going to get there, but
no,
I would really, really like it for them to, turn the Bengals or like an Idris's railgun into like an Isaac Newton cannon. An object in motion stays in motion. When you fire that railgun, if that shot misses,
That would be horrible to try and manage. Be horrible.
then someday
I thought
we
you were going to fire apples.
no, they just fall.
It's actually mentioned a few times in. I'm currently reading The Expanse, and I'm in book 8. But it's mentioned several times in there how, people are like, we just had this massive battle, and there were thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds fired, and they're just going to keep going. And they could eventually hit things, Yep.
So let's talk mining gadgets, because they talked a bit about mining gadgets and the whole like showing up at an asteroid that you can't really mine easily, and slapping a gadget on there, making it a bit easier to mine. But they were basically talking about this as the they had focused a lot on the mole, the multi-crew mining ship.
Yeah, it's the mole.
The mole, yeah. They had focused on making the mole work well, which sort of left single-player miners behind a bit. There's a lot of stuff that single-player miners couldn't mine. So these mining gadgets increase the risk of it, because you actually have to leave your ship, go out there, plant the gadget, and come back, and then you can mine. But it allows solo miners to mine more. I'm happy that they're doing this.
I think it's cool too. Oh man, poor guy.
Yeah.
His prospector got fucking wrecked. That'd make me very sad. Be like, David, come and pick me up. Somebody fucked my ship up.
This game
the same shard that you're on. Sorry.
Niscavian, I think it's the right direction. I hate one of the things I hate most. I've been playing a lot of New World right now, and New World has these story, like mandatory instances, mandatory dungeons at the end of story arcs that you have to do if you want to complete the story arc. And to do them, you have to have a minimum of 3 players. So what they have done, Cass and I play together, and we don't want to play with anyone else because I don't like other people. It means we're gated. Like we get to the end, and we're like, well, we cannot do these dungeons, period. And I hate it. I want them to make sure that a single person can do the things that a larger group can. They won't make as much, right? The profit isn't going to be there because you're mining a lot less, you're mining a lot slower, but you still can. Groups.
I don't think gating things behind groups is necessarily a great idea.
Yeah. I hate it when games gate things behind groups. Back 4 Blood is a great example right now. Phenomenal game. Love it. But on launch, if you wanted to play single player, there was no progression at all. Everything was unlocked. You couldn't even unlock new characters. You couldn't progress. There was no progression. You could only progress if you were playing multiplayer online. That's
weird.
Why are you going to gate things behind groups? I don't like it.
Because they say so. You have to make friends, David.
No.
I'm with David on this one. Even if it's only possible in theory, I would like to be able, at least in theory, to be able to do everything.
One of the things I like is that with my prospector, sometimes you run up against a rock and it's like you start blasting it and it just creep it. You're like, man, I'm just right at the limits of my ability to mine this fucking thing, but you still can. it should be clear, not all of them you can. But I always love finding the ones where you're like, they're telling you shouldn't be doing it, but you're doing it anyway, and it takes like 8 minutes to get it up to the.
And I think Niscavian. I
In
think what you're
response-
gonna. Go ahead.
Well, in response to Noscavian's comment, yes and no in a way. I don't think an Orion is going to be sat there mining a single asteroid.
Yeah.
Would be the point. But I don't think a mole is going to sit there and mine an entire asteroid belt.
No.
It could, and they could
Well,
both do either.
theoretically.
But yeah, in theory,
We are going to
you're
get
gonna spend
larger
far too much
asteroids.
time mining the whole belt.
Oh yeah, we also saw that. Yeah.
We are eventually going to get. We're going to get larger asteroids, right? Those large, like huge asteroids, probably not mineable in a prospector.
They're for Orions.
But it shouldn't be. But really, what it should be is you're gonna do better faster in an Orion than a prospector than stuff you cannot mine. Like there's this rock and I cannot mine it just because. Like it's I don't like the just because. It should be that there's this asteroid that's 700 times the size of my ship. I can't do anything with it. Right? I can't. That is reasonable. Otherwise, not so much. Okay.
But in contrast, it should also be theoretically possible that I could go and place loads of charges around this stupidly large asteroid,
Totally.
break it
You know
down
what?
into bite-sized bits, and then someone comes at the last minute and blows me up whilst I'm doing that. But in theory, I could mine it that way.
You're right. I agree. Drake
great.
Vulture is in gray box. Or at least we get to see the gray box of it. Looks good.
They haven't changed the design at all from the concept. Looks like they were quite happy with the concept, and I mean it was a good concept to begin with. So
Yeah, it looks nice. What?
Is it Misk?
No, it's Drake.
it's Drake.
Great.
It
The
does.
Drake
it does.
industrial ship.
Yeah, it does look a little bit Misk actually. The back curves
Yeah.
inwards the way a Misk does. It's got.
But the cockpit's not misky.
No, it's not.
Yeah, the engines are definitively Drake.
Yeah,
Also, it has a physical ladder bolted to the outside of it. That is so
that's
Drake.
not Misk.
There.
They've
Doesn't look
redone
like
some
it's
of
about
the.
to fall apart though.
They've redone some face work to make the faces look a bit better. I think it's great. Faces, they're getting
Wow.
pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty good is a bit of an understatement. That is incredible.
They look a lot more
And-
realistic and like better colored. The color's a lot better. Yeah. Apparently
Detail work.
they will get eyebrows back as well.
Oh man.
That was just a bug.
I was hoping they were going for the alopecia look.
Faces. They're important. Back when Cass and I were getting an ultrasound of Link, and they were like one of those ultrasounds where they confirm that he has like legs and arms and hands. The technician was like, "Oh, so here we have a hand." And I was like, "Hands are important." She's like, "Here we've got a foot. Feet are important. Here we've got, oh, you can see
boy.
his heart beating. Hearts are important. Oh, here's an
Worst
ear.
is, you know
Ears
that
are
this is
important."
fucking true. That is, you can picture him doing that. You really can.
I did. And then
Yeah,
to the
I
point
know.
to the point
Cass
that
hit you
both
at some point.
both Cass and the ultrasound technician were like, "We get it. We get it." I didn't stop.
You want me to test his mental acuity to see if he takes after the father or the mother?
Armor with a cape.
No capes.
No capes.
Capes are cool.
I I was sad that we didn't have a podcast last week because I really wanted to talk about this. I love the nozzle and how it like stretches out when you move your head. I think that is such phenomenal attention to detail. It looks
crap! You
amazing.
just noticed that. That is amazing.
It's honestly unbelievable the attention to detail that's there. I'm gonna let it run again because it's
what? That's going beyond the necessary level of detail.
It's nuts.
Oh, that's so cool.
Look at it. It compress like it's like an air duct vent that like compresses and expands. I love it.
Cool.
I love it.
Wow. And Shiver's like, eh.
No, I'm thinking, flashbacks to the great carrier bag wars.
I thought you were going to make a penis joke. Those expand and contract.
Or island immature.
Anyway, the armor looks fantastic.
Sure does.
Scavian. I liked that they're going to differentiate between gangs with like cool looking murals.
Yes.
I
think
think tags.
Yes, fine. No, they're called murals. When they're like officially sanctioned by the local government body,
I could just
they are
see you.
Hey, no. Tags are illegal when there is officially sanctioned art approved by the local governing body. That is a mural.
I can just see you going up around in gangland America. Ah, hello there, Bloods. I understand you've been painting your murals across the town. I'm quite a fan of your artwork.
No, that would be a tag, unless it was officially sanctioned by the local
Damn,
government.
you are the whitest white dude that has ever stepped in this neighborhood.
Amazing. I have to. Okay, we need to pause that for a second. Their artists are fucking awesome. Like, these are all just gorgeous.
They're really cool.
Oh.
They look really good.
I'm really looking forward to Pyro. It's gonna have such a different feeling to it than Stanton does.
Stanton's really crisp and clean and like, I don't know.
Yep. Well, and the UE is basically just not present in Pyro, so
yeah,
it's gonna be very interesting.
It's gonna be cool. Yeah, they showed off some Pyro stations. God, these look so good.
They are going so hard on the Pyro stations. I'm so excited.
Would you say they're burning through them?
No.
Oh. Would you say that they're lit?
Yes.
Look, this is just another instance of really good artwork from CIG.
Yep. One of the things I give them a huge amount of credit for. So many games get one decent design for a space station, and they're like, okay, that's good. We'll make 4 billion of those. And they're all the same. They look exactly the same. And
I mean, there should be.
CIG's like, no. We're going to make 400 different stations. They're going to be modular. You can have bits and pieces of them that are different on different ones. The interiors can be different, even on ones that look the same. And
I'm glad you brought that up because I've heard it fucking again. I wish I could remember where. Someone was saying, they still haven't talked about modularity. They've pretty much abandoned it. It's like, no, they fucking haven't. Fucking have not in any fucking way, shape, or form.
Watched it?
Fucking modular. Like they have not. I think they actually even did make an announcement officially. Yeah, we haven't even abandoned shit modules.
No, they're
working on.
Right now.
Aren't they working on the tally modules right now?
Yep. Yeah, they are.
As
literally
I
right now
as well.
Yeah, they're
And I was
working
like,
on
no, they
the
haven't
ship
abandoned modularity. Why are you saying this? Where can I buy drugs from you?
Right?
Holy crap!
Yeah, they actually now have modular space stations, modular outposts. The new frickin' homesteads are modular.
Hey there, Saldian.
Yeah,
Long time no
it's
see.
all modular.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
but yeah, I mean,
Hey, Saldian?
Saudian.
Saldian.
But yeah,
There we go. Sorry.
It just makes a lot of sense and saves them a lot of time basically making Lego. Because that's what they're doing, is making these Lego modules, and then this bit plugs into there, this bit plugs into there, and voila, new station.
My bow ties are actually right here in a drawer. I'm too lazy to put them on nowadays.
I'm
You
surprised
should
they still fit
come
around
on
your
this
neck.
stream sometime with like 4 on.
I did that once.
You did do
Recently.
that once. You're right. Yeah.
There, bow tie, done. I'm presentable now. Bow tie and a V neck.
You look like a stripper.
Oh man.
But yeah, these stations are amazing, and
Shiver,
I love one. It's
Shiver?
What?
you are what you eat.
Oh my.
I love the fact of everything in Star Citizen. Of you see it, you can explore inside of it. That's, I don't know
Yeah.
why that appeals to me. I don't know how anyone else feels, and frankly, I don't give a fuck about how the rest of you fucking feel. Fuck you.
Years
It's
ago,
that moment where Todd Howard says, "Oh, and you see those mountains over there? You can go there." It's like, fuck those fucking mountains. I want to go in the fucking buildings and see what's inside of them. I want to explore inside.
10
That
years
didn't work
ago,
out well for me on
probably.
my wedding night.
I think like 8 to 10 years ago, there was a tech demo that was shown that blew my freaking mind. It was a procedural generation of a city, right? All the roads were there, and they had like skyscrapers and tons of buildings everywhere, and they procedurally generated interiors for every single building, in that you could walk up to any tower there and walk up the stairs and walk into any room, any of it. It was all procedurally generated, an entire city in Crisis. It was in CryEngine.
In CryEngine?
In CryEngine.
Wow.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that everyone. I know there's no such thing as a perfect engine, no matter what everyone says about Unreal or what the fuck ever. A lot of the shit for an engine in a game just gets torn out, and people use third-party middleware because it's better. But CryEngine was the one that everyone at one point was like, "We can do some really fucked up stuff with this." Real-time fluid dynamics was a CryEngine thing. SpeedTree was CryEngine originally. It can do some really funky things, but as I think CIG have discovered, there are also some things it is not able to do, like networking. But then, networking has always been
Such a huge game was, at the time that it came out, it had some of the best networking of any game I'd played. It was this like rocket racing car soccer game, and it actually worked. And it's all online. I'm like, how the hell did they get this to work properly? And it works more or less all the time. And it's instructive though that is what impressed me, right? Because networking is such a bitch in games. It really is. Getting all of the clients to actually see the same thing at the same time is not easy.
All right, I'm gonna move us on to this week's videos. And,
now we're moving on to this week. Wow.
Yeah.
Now we're going to catch up to be more recent.
Yeah. If you haven't watched this week's ISC, it's really important.
Was this the other thing I was talking about in the pre-show?
I think it was the future of flight and fight.
No, future of space combat.
And flight. They talk about all of it. It's combat, it's flight, it's weapon balancing, shields, it's capacitation, capillary.
It's combat focused.
Instantiation?
Yeah. It is combat focused, but I believe they say at the end that they're also going to talk about like flight models as well again.
Again.
I mean, hey, look, you missed. I mean, I think a fairly decent show so far. But that's just me. Anyway, it sounded to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like a fairly significant overhaul of the way combat works in Star Citizen is being done. Now, this is okay. So they're changing a bunch of stuff with combat. It's good, right? They're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't. They're trying to nail things down. They're trying to really get in there and stir things up, and they're trying to make sure that everything is rock hard and solid. What was it? What's that, Shiver?
Did you hear that too, Nakara? Was he making sexual innuendo on
He
relays?
was. I know.
Dude,
How dare he? How dare he?
I made like 4 in a row. It was great.
I know.
Yeah, you get in there, you stir it up.
Anyway, I'm gonna actually take us back to this because they didn't really show much visuals this week. It was more just the slideshows, which we'll go through in a minute of what they're talking about. But one of what we were discussing before the show, and what I think is really important for us to discuss, is that lots of this comes down to Squadron 42.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So they're talking about fixing up combat and flight, and we know that lots of their focus for almost everything right now is on Squadron 42. Everything is secondary to Squadron 42 because they need to get Squadron out the door. It has to happen. Yep. So one of the things, and I want to get both of your thoughts in a moment here, but one of the things that I really picked up nice. One of the things that I really picked up on them saying that to me meant something special was them saying that with these changes, they want a lot of playtests, and they're going to be doing a lot more playtests, and they're going to be trying to get a lot more player feedback because they want to know how this really know how this works with the community, because that they're going to pull directly from this for Squadron. This is how they test Squadron's combat.
They want us to tell them what we want, what we really want.
Yeah, I want to tell them what I want, right? What I really want.
The spice must flow, Shiver.
1990s called. They want their reference back. I'm sorry.
I really want to.
Were you telling that to yourself or to me?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that? Sure, you watched it. What did you think?
First of all, I have a personal feeling that all the combat flight model updates are stealth updates for Squadron in their own way, because it's the focus of Squadron is combat.
Yep.
Now that they're looking at oh Christ, what was it? Anti-fighter specialization guns, anti-capital specialization guns, looking at doing turrets in a different way rather than just straight up overpowering them, but actually trying to make them useful, because they referenced the hammerhead in particular. Yeah. It's very interesting, a lot of progress to be made, and what was that? The gimbal auto tracker, which I do not like. I'm a HOTAS pilot, so most of the time, if I had that damn thing on, I'm fighting with the gimbal tracker. It's like, no, don't go, and fix the weapons. But for dual stick pilots, they are actually looking at implementing. Oh God, I can't even remember what it was, but because dual stick is not something I do, but they are looking at implementing stuff especially for dual stick users. You know, one firm joystick in each hand, so you can have as much maximum fun as possible wiggling these sticks around.
You gotta love that host ass, right?
Yeah. It's an extremely popular method as well. But
I heard
like
of a method recently, actually,
of...
that I really want to try and can't because I don't have a stick that supports it. My stick is oddly shaped. But I really actually want to try hands-on stick and mouse.
Oh, Sam.
That's Ho Jam.
No. Hands-on
joystick and mouse?
No, hands-on stick and mouse.
Oh, Sam. Hand on stick
Oh,
and
Sam.
mouse.
Left hand on a stick that does strafe.
Oh, he's using his left hand. Okay.
Left hand on that, and right hand on your mouse.
It feels like someone
aiming.
else is doing it when you do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd be very good.
Yeah, that's Ho Jam.
I thought it was Hosam.
I thought it was Ho Jam, hands on joystick and mouse.
But what? But this is a joystick. Why is
Boy.
Anyway.
Oh no.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless, they're tuning combat.
I like the fact that there are just so many changes coming up in that. All these things that they're looking at, and I was extremely pleased. I don't want to go through every individual thing because it would just be everything they fucking listed. But so many good things, like even if you've taken power away from shields, they're still going to have a bit of charge in them.
Yes.
You want that. Dedicated EMP user. I want that.
I want Hotot now. Hey Dusty, how's it going? Yeah, it feels important that they are doing another push towards finalizing combat and flight, because one of the things to really keep in mind is when Star Citizen, like they have to finalize flight and that be final.
Yep.
They can't really finalize flight for Squadron and then have it continue growing and changing in Star Citizen. It has to be the same basic experience.
It's one of the big challenges that they are going to have is for the first time, really, they basically have to get fighting and flying to a final state.
Yeah.
Probably in the next, I'm going to guess in the next year or so, it needs to be done.
Year to a year and a half, it has to be complete.
Yeah. And you know, they've been trying to do gold standard stuff for a bit, but this is probably the first gameplay feature where they're going to have to get it to the end point. So should be interesting. I'm really glad that they're diving so deep into it, though. They do need to consider all aspects of fighting. And in Star Citizen, that's really hard because there's a lot of aspects of fighting in Star Citizen.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just you know, an FPS with a 6 different guns. You have
I really like
hundreds of ships and
well, and one of the things that they were talking about in the episode that I really like is is almost they're dumbing it down to archetypes, right? They are trying to that was me. They're trying to simplify things and they're going to expand on this, but like there are two main types of guns right now. Anti-fighter and anti-large ship. Right? Let's focus on the simple stuff. They will evolve it and expand it as they go. But one of the things they were talking about is for Star Citizen really important that they had like a 90% difference between shields, right? So there was no point to having a low tier shield, right? You have to have the best shield, or else it doesn't matter if you're a good player, you have to have the best shield, right? So they need to add some variation. Now I do worry about that. one of the things they have to do is they have to have variation, right? And they have to make it so that you don't have like the one shield that everyone has to use because it's the best shield, period. But avoiding that means like you start to limit the number of shields you can have. Right? So by cutting out the variation, if you don't want a 0 to 90% variation, right? If you only want like a 15 to 20% variation between your items, you can only have 15 to 20 item. Like you lose some of the...
I disagree with you very much.
Really?
Yeah, because you just make them have different effects.
Right, but you
just don't make them pure strength based. It's like this one recharges faster. This one can absorb this type of damage better. This one doesn't steal your grandmother. You know.
Right, but then but that's
I
what
think there's even more to it than that, though, with the way that they're looking at absolutely everything. Because it's like, okay, I could get this shield that's got a plus 50% recharge rate over standard. However, it also needs 75% more power.
Yeah. Or
All
you could
those
have a
other
really
things.
high quality shield that can recharge faster, but does not require more power because it's, it's like mega tier thing. But honestly, you're going to end up with. I think it would be really smart for them too to make it so. Shields are better at different things. So, like, if you're a miner and you want a shield to protect you from exploding rocks, it's not necessarily the best shield to use in a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Because they have different strengths and are better at different things. But I don't know. It's interesting.
You know what else? If you could extend that out a little bit more, you could you could discourage people using a Carrack as a mobile warship, because you could have the Carrack take these shields that are, special just for exploration, extra strength
Protected
against
against
radiation
speed
or something
effects
like
and
that.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're near enough useless against ballistic weapons, so anyone with a pop gun could just come and completely smash a Carrack.
I completely agree, Niscavian. I'm 100% with you.
Wow, that's a lot of agreement. I love it. I love it. I love it. They totally should do that. That would be great. Make Aurora the best ship in the game for a day and a half.
Carbide, some ships have it. Like the Vanguard has 2 shield generators, but that's the only way it would work. It's if you have a second generator, that would be your backup. One of the things that we often don't talk about, because honestly CIG haven't talked about it, but that becomes really, really important when it comes to balancing equipment, is the idea that eventually we're supposed to be able to tune it.
Mm-hmm. Also, even they're also into this mix becomes the uncertainty of because parts will age, right, and they'll degenerate. And that's also another factor they can roll into this. Maybe your shields are great, but they fall apart in 3 months because they're high performance. But the downside of that is they can't last very long, or you have to repair them every 20 minutes. But yeah, you also get this really lovely side of or really lovely extra effect of wear, because it will add another twist to that. Not everyone's going to have the same anything, because some of them will be old.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and they had talked about this.
At this point, the only thing we sort of know, even that isn't exactly confirmed, but it's pretty much confirmed, is shields and any component is not going to come down to a simple numbers game. It's not going to be a simple, these stats are higher than those stats, so I'll just use that.
I think if they just keep their eye on the player skill, like they've been trying to do that all along. If they just keep their eye on the player skill should matter more, then I'm cool with it. Because I think that is a good way to go. I think being able to min max everything makes games annoying.
Yeah.
It just I don't like min max. I don't like that style of play. The just min max everything to the nines. I really would love if somebody min maxed everything, but they weren't like a spectacular player. That somebody who is talented with their ship and knew their ship could still win. You know.
Mm.
So yeah, in the Skavian, there's still the ballistics rework that has to happen.
Oh yeah.
I think because ballistics are supposed to be.
I don't remember.
No, it's. But I could be wrong. It's been a while, but ballistics are supposed to be better against armor and pass through shields somewhat, and that is the benefit of them being lower ammo count. You have a restricted ammo count.
The other way around. Because it was always something that struck me as weird. Of lasers were weaker against shields, but ballistics were stronger. And I could be wrong as well, but from my memory, I always thought it was asked backwards. I thought lasers should be able to take out shields and ballistics take out armor.
I'd have to look that one up again, but I had thought it was ballistics will actually go through shield that have partial penetration on shields and do good damage against armor, but they're limited in ammunition, whereas lasers do good damage against shields and good damage against, or decent damage against shields and decent damage against armor, but you don't have an ammo count. Right? Ballistics have to be better than lasers because ballistics have an ammo count. There has to be a drawback to having a finite supply of ammunition. So they do more damage, but you gotta hit
them.
They don't
take power to fire, I believe, whereas lasers do.
It's true. Maybe it is that they don't penetrate. I think it's better if you use lasers.
I'm reading. I'm reading it right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Ballistic weapons penetrate some percentage of enemy shields, somewhere between 20 and 60%, depending on the shield, and deal the remaining damage directly to the hull. So that is the advantage of ballistic weapons.
They hurt the hull no matter what.
Yeah, basically. And I'm assuming once armor works properly, and I still think it doesn't.
It doesn't.
I still don't think armor is really being taken into account at all. Then I'm assuming that damage, that hull damage, will be applied to the armor damage instead of directly to the hull initially, anyway.
Yeah. And lasers are good to actually destroy the shield because lasers are completely absorbed by the shield, but they have to pass through the shield before they can start hitting the armor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then distortion weapons. Did they take distortion out? I think they did. I can't remember. I think at some point they took it out, but it might be back. Distortion weapons are like shield destroyers. They do extra damage to shields and rip them apart.
Didn't they want those weapons to also affect components in a ship rather than smashing the armor, so you could use it to disable the ship?
I think so.
Well, I think their whole goal is to start making ships
it says
not explode.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, for sure. And distortion weapons, even right now. Well, I don't know if distortion's in the game right now. I know at one point they were having trouble with it and they pulled it out. But after you get through the shields, it doesn't do damage. It interferes with the performance of the power plant and all of the components.
Yeah.
To the point where the power plant becomes depleted of power.
And the thing that I'm interested in, and the thing that I think will change a lot, is once those systems are in, once the armor system is in, and once they change sort of the health of ships to stop it. Mm-hmm. Like right now, you get a ship to 0 and it blows, right? Like there's no, you don't really have the stuff starts failing. They really need more of the components set up, and the capacitor system, and a bunch of other things, and then you start getting the interesting.
I can't wait for the poor bastards floating around in their dead ship, going.
But that's interesting.
This.
Well, and then you have to
Get out
set up
and
a
push.
beacon, right? But then
Yeah,
you
exactly.
also
what
get
builds
the
gameplay.
but then you also get a bit more piracy rather than murder,
Oh, yeah.
because you can take out the ship without killing the person and having a large increase to your crime stat. You take out the ship, steal from them, and leave them alive.
Yep. I took your shit and left you here stranded, and you're gonna have to call for help.
Yep.
Yep.
And then we just need the food system, so that you have to eat while you're stranded. And then we just need the defecation system.
The food system's already in.
Oh no, he's back on the feces.
He's back on the feces. There you go. Yeah.
I don't think they've really spoken in depth at all about armor, but I am really intrigued to know how they're going to do that sort of system, because obviously they want to err towards more of a gameplay mechanic than realism. Because if you err towards realism and your armor is just thick enough, then you could sit there and pound that all day like a Frenchman on his honeymoon night, and it's not going to get through.
Yep.
But that's shit from a gameplay perspective. Simple as that. That is pile of shit. So I really want to know how they're going to do that.
Something
Pretty fun.
that I thought was really, really important and really good to hear from this week's episode, when they were talking about tuning flight, was, I think, 2 or 3 times the guy on ISC this week was saying there will be points where we sort of put away the realism because the realism is not fun, and we keep it to fun. And I haven't heard that from CIG in a while.
They talked about that recently in another thing too, where they were like, we try and start at the realistic thing and see if it's fun, and then we work towards making it fun from there.
And it needs to be fun.
Oh, absolutely.
For
Everything.
instance, Noscavians just said, I read somewhere, once a physical damage system comes online, heavier armors will nearly completely ignore smaller sized weapons. Well, that ain't fun for someone with a smaller sized weapon. The guy in the heavy armor has basically got an I win button if he sets everything up completely right. And I don't think anyone wants it where it's simply a matter of, this guy is bigger than me. There should always be a chance, even if it's just in theory.
Well, and
the first constellation to get blown up by an Aurora is going to be sad.
No, because that's actually something that CIG. Keep in mind,
I want it too. Absolutely.
Yeah. CIG talk about that all the time. They actually talked about literally in this episode they want it to come down to player skill. If it comes down to the armor of your ship, then it doesn't come down to player skill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have a question that's related, I think, to this topic. I don't know if either of you have played Armor, but
Yes. I hate it.
I did.
Armor is on the realism side.
It sure is.
And it's a fantastic game, but at the same time, it's a shit game.
Yep, pretty much. That is the perfect
Yeah.
description of Arma.
Yep.
It is a fantastic shit game.
Yeah. You spend 30 minutes walking, trying to get to where the action is, and you get blown away by a sniper that you never see. And that's realistic. That is realism.
Yep.
Would you want something like that in Star Citizen, though?
No. Not at all.
Why? Well, would that not, though, conversely, would that not detract from snipers, people who want to be an actual sniper? And today, we have got sniper guns that can fire fucking literal miles.
Yep.
Yep.
So
can.
surely in Star Citizen, I should be in orbit and be able to shoot someone. Where was the line going to be drawn between realism and still fun gameplay for snipers?
For snipers, as I am a sniper in any FPS, I play a sniper. I love being a sniper. I actually hate the Battlefield games because I find the idea that a 50 cal bullet to the chest doesn't drop someone to be annoying as shit.
That's fair.
It's dumb.
Yep, it sure
It's
is.
really dumb.
Especially from somebody who actually like, has seen up close what damage these weapons do. You don't even something much smaller than a 50 cal.
You don't walk away.
No, you're done.
Yeah,
It's
like-
game over, man.
The idea that you have to get a headshot with a sniper rifle is dumb. Where I think that Star Citizen will actually mediate this a bit is the size of the world. Because one of the reasons they don't do that in something like Battlefield is because the maps are small enough that you end up being really close to your enemy, and it's not a hard shot. Yes, I think actually, I could be wrong, I haven't checked the stat in a while, but I believe the farthest shot by a military sniper in history is actually done by a Canadian. It was something like 2 kilometers or something. He hit 2 kilometers away. He got a confirmed kill.
I thought it was an American at 3
No,
miles.
it's further than that now.
Oh, is it?
It is a Canadian, but it was 3.5 kilometers.
That's
What's that
nuts.
in a real measurement?
3.5 kilometers.
I mean, that's metric, so it's the right one. It's 2 miles.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty good.
It was a.
And also,
No, but hang on, because
it was a 50 cal.
but I can guarantee that his target was not walking around.
You can guarantee that?
he wasn't fucking after.
No, not after.
But
Nope.
like the point is, in Star Citizen, if you're standing there doing nothing and a sniper hits you with a shot from 2 miles out, yeah, you should be dead.
Yeah, but does that mean then I have to be walking around like I really need the toilet all the time just in case I get shot?
No, because you're not going to. The idea is also that the game is so big that the likelihood of you being targeted by some jackass sniper is, in theory, so incredibly low.
People are going to be specializing in privateering, military operations. It is a thing.
It
and
is.
People are going to have towns or bases that they build themselves, sat on ramparts if they've got half intelligence, with a sniper.
Okay. So are you going to just stand there looking at the walls of the town until the sniper kills you? Or are you going to run, like tactically...
Well, what are you going to use for cover in this open area?
Car.
That's why Battlefield... Battlefield has... it is a massive battlefield. It has deliberately placed objects in the way, so you can tactically, in theory, duck, cover, get out the way.
And
But
do you know what
whole
the
planet.
instant counter to any sniper is in Battlefield? And one of the reasons I hate Battlefield, it's because there's 18 tanks on the map, and and 4 helicopters and another 4 jets. And guess what? Me as a sniper can do against any of those? Literally nothing.
Yeah, you can do that.
Literally
Yep.
nothing.
You can't shoot the guy who's flying the jet?
That's a fair point.
I have actually, but
Yeah, so
Let-
that's not
let's-
literally nothing.
let's say I've tried 1,000 times to shoot the pilot out of the cockpit in a helicopter, and I've succeeded twice.
That's fair.
That's more than me.
It feels phenomenal when you get it, and they're going off,
But you
and
can't do that when they're in a tank.
no, you can't. And,
You can't
and
shoot them out of the tank.
I know, but no, and Miami, I have pulled off some really ridiculous shots with a sniper rifle, but also we're talking about Battlefield, which is 1, slower vehicles, and 2, a smaller map. I don't
Yep.
like there's going to be, and this is something
It's another one of those things that needs to be played out
Yep.
more and
Yep.
balanced.
It's why I want Theaters of War. It's why I think that Theaters of War, in my opinion, is one of the most important things that Star Citizen needs, because until we have something like Theaters of War, we do not have the scale of Star Marine is too small to verify sniper rifles. Period. It's too small to see if they work for what they're intended to. And the persistent universe is too chaotic to verify if it works in a battle. We need something like Theaters of War to validate combat in all of its messiness. And in a way that doesn't take you 15 minutes when you die to respawn to get back to the battle, because the battle's on a moon somewhere and you gotta like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to know where Theaters of War is.
I would imagine us giving that it is that going to be extremely similar to Dust 514, except much more interactive. Are either of you familiar with Dust 514?
Yes.
Right. That, but a lot more. It's real time.
That was Eve, right?
Yeah.
That's the Eve FPS, yeah.
Dust 514 was on PS4
4
exclusively.
or 3
One
at
planet.
this point. Fuck.
Yeah. The one that everyone could actually buy. But you could have orbital bombardments arranged from your mate in Eve onto the planet, but this is going to be a little bit more visceral than that. In that, yes, you can actually have someone come down on the ship. The ship is coming down and then just flies off into the sunset, rather than you just see these huge laser beams.
But then, and that's the stuff that they need to test, because yes, you can fly down and like machine gun a whole bunch of infantry, but then the ballista will AA hit you. Like there's got to be counters to everything, right? Snipers have a pretty hard counter. It's get in a car. Period.
For a second, you said get in a car. I was like, what did I do?
But it's not just that. We're all just thinking at the moment in the box of this is how you use this equipment. Let's think outside the box of that crazy person with a caterpillar. Each bay is full of a fucking Nova Tonk.
Yeah.
He's coming in and the Novas just
Yep.
fly out. The caterpillar.
Do you know what?
Oh dear.
Sorry, you're right, Shiver. I apologize. Do you know what is an even harder counter to a sniper than a car? It's a caterpillar filled with tonks. That might be the hardest counter to a sniper.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to try this crazy stuff. People are already trying crazy stuff with what we have now.
Honestly, that is the beauty of Star Citizen. It will always be the beauty of Star Citizen, is they're trying to basically make this gigantic sandbox MMO.
But here's the
essentially
problem.
what they're doing.
Can I give you the problem with that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course you can. Go ahead.
The problem with that is it doesn't help Squadron. Because you know what you're not going to be able to do in Squadron? Is pilot a caterpillar filled with tonks.
No, I know. I was just talking about Star Citizen. I wasn't talking.
No, I know, but that. No, but that's my point, right? If all we have to balance with is Star Citizen, that won't help Squadron. Squadron
They won't actually balance using Star Citizen. They'll use Star Citizen to test things, and then they'll balance Squadron using internal testers probably.
But that's what the
honestly,
war is for.
the other thing is too though that Squadron doesn't need to be balanced. It's not important.
No, but like we talked about the flight model, Squadron has to play the same as Star Citizen.
It has to play well. It has to play good. It doesn't have to play exactly the same, but very similar. There's somewhat you can write off with, oh, you were in the military, we had military grade equipment, blah blah blah.
But you can get that military grade equipment in Star Citizen. It has to have the same effects. If you, because you, well, yeah, because if you're
I
sitting
think-
there in Star Citizen looking at your gun and
I think
it's
you're
like,
taking the car a little bit too literally.
no, but
Was what you
what
said.
happens if you're sitting there in in Squadron 42 and you're like, this is my loadout. I know exactly how it shreds an enemy Gladius. I love this loadout. I've spent the last 40 hours playing Squadron and this is the loadout I like. And then you hit Star Citizen and you're like, this is my loadout. And you're
You
like,
think they're gonna let you change your loadout in Squadron? You're flying
yeah,
military
absolutely.
ships.
So
You'll
I'll
have.
let you
I would
change your
imagine you'll
loadout.
have some freedom. It's
You'll
like
be able
even
to
in Wing
change your
Commander,
loadout.
you could change loadout a bit. You
Maybe.
could change the ship you were flying.
yeah,
That- It was minimal, and I would expect minimal.
I don't
You know,
know.
do you want laser weapons or ballistic weapons? What kind of missiles do you want? As long as it fits on the frame, kind of thing.
I could
But
be
it-
wrong.
but it's also gonna tell you.
It's not like you're a soldier in the military and you can go, no, I don't want to carry my M16 today. I want to carry a tactical shotgun. They'll be like, no, the weapon you were assigned was the M16. Here you go do your thing.
I don't know. I haven't been in the military, but I'd imagine.
Oh, you think you'd be able to carry different weapons? I don't think so. But I don't know how they're going to go with that, and I really don't know. We will probably not know about that part of Squadron until we actually play it.
Yeah.
And I think it could go either way. You might have some limited loadout customization, but I do know what you mean. And yes, I do agree that if you're flying this exact same ship as Squadron in Star Citizen, that they should fly roughly the same.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
My point is they have to have the balance fairly worked out before Squadron launches.
Except they're mostly balancing against the Vandal, I would think. Which is what you can sort of fudge a little bit more.
But you can't. The problem is you can't fudge that in Star Citizen. They can't
Why?
fudge Star Citizen because, I mean, I would presume that at some point in Star Citizen there are going to be Vandal attacks. That would make sense.
This
Why
is
would
a
they
different
throw...
tribe of Vandal. They're all tribal, so that tribe had these types of ships and this type. Yeah, I don't know. It's easy enough to hand wave them.
It feels like CIG don't hand wave him. I don't know.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I just don't. I don't think that because my biggest thing is I don't think you can balance anything in Star Citizen right now because the servers don't work well enough.
No, you can't. That's why I don't want to balance using Star Citizen. They need to balance using something else, which is why they need Theaters of War.
I know, but I don't think they're going to get it in time to, or at least not released. They have it internally, so they can use it internally as a balance tool.
So
We'll see.
I think what Nakara is saying is they can fudge it in Squadron 42, but they can use the fudge, whatever they achieved as a fudge level from Squadron, and use that as their target to actually achieve in Star Citizen, or as close as they can get.
That would be an
without
interesting
fudging.
thing. But single-player games have a lot of freedoms that multiplayer do not. And I'm not sure how that's going to manifest in Squadron, but it should be interesting to see.
But at the same time, it saves them a lot of time if they're just like, okay, this is it. This is the combat model. We'll just take this from Squadron and we'll just put that in Star Citizen. Done. So they don't have to piss around with two different systems.
The other thing they could do is they get Squadron to a point that they like, they release it, and then if in a year later they're like, we've done all these rewrites to the combat system for Star Citizen, and we're going to pass them back to Squadron and update Squadron. So Squadron from X point will now feel different. Like they run them in parallel, they update them in parallel.
They could. I don't know if they will. They could.
Niskavian, when Sean Tracy talked about Theaters of War, he said next year, soon next year, but what year was that? No one even knows, because the last 2 years are this
Wasn't it
nebulous
2018?
Black hole.
this nebulous sort of black hole of time. Next year hasn't even really happened yet. Also, that's a great album name, Shimmer.
Country, hey? I wouldn't have expected country from you. Wait, do you play the guitar?
The getter.
No, I played the spoons.
Oh, wow, you're really going country. I like it.
Yeah, I've got a compliment on grass. Just plays a grass blade. One note, but it's a hell of a note.
Grass blade and spoons.
Oh my god.
412 songs on the album. All
Each of them is 20 minutes long.
The album's actually only released on long play vinyl. It comes in a 400 vinyl set.
Play it backwards. You get your pickup truck back. Your wife comes back. You get your guitar back, but you lose your dog.
What about my spoons?
Free pack of
Take them
spoons
with
with album purchase.
Oh, okay. That's good. Do I get a blade of grass as well?
No.
Oh, fuck.
Sorry, we don't have any more of those. Climate change.
I think grass is like invincible.
I mean, I don't know if grass will survive 5 degrees global warming, but
It'll be fine.
I
long
won't
as
survive
Rick's
5 degrees more of global warming.
no, you won't.
Right.
Fun fact, I don't think any of us here would survive 5 degrees global warming. 5 degrees global warming is the,
Probably
like,
got him started.
97% of the human race dead level.
Are you sure
Oh,
about
so
that?
what's the bad side?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure at 5 degrees, it's like maybe 1 million people survive or something like it's bad.
That's too many.
Yeah, I know.
It's too many.
Anyway, now that Greta's finished,
I'm not. I could go on for
no.
days.
We
Not that it's
are at the
unimportant,
end of
it's
the
just
show,
irrelevant to
actually.
Star Citizen.
We're actually
I
at
would
the
like
end
to
of the
actually
show.
know in Star Citizen lore how they solved the climate crisis. That's relevant to
they?
Star Citizen. Did they?
Or did they?
Or did they? How did they or did they? I want to know where that is in Star Citizen lore. Someone get me Paul. Are you getting McDonald's delivered again?
Yeah.
God, you lucky bastard.
Samurai Mac.
Man, they just
Oh.
opened a new food store here. It's called Mary Brown's. It's Newfoundland's version of KFC. It's really good.
Wow, that's probably amazing. Those newfies know what they're doing. All right, we have 3 minutes left.
Yeah, this is it.
Shiver, what are you doing? Now that you have food, you have to talk.
Oh shit. Christ. This week on the 17th in your Western time zone, we've got Wraith Part 2. Following up from our Halloween game, it was actually really good. A lot of drama, high confrontation. It made me feel as really bad as a person to put these people together as they just shout at each other and argue. But at the same time, it was great. So tune in for that over on Table of Horrors. And then on day after, Thursday, we've got London by Gaslight, our V5 VTM game.
Excellent. David, what do you have on the schedule?
This week only. No billing down. No payments till spring. No payments in spring. No payments in summer. When? This week. We've got the worst, we've got the best, we've got it all, except one thing. What's that? We've got no product, no store. So don't come down, stay away, stay at home every month, every year. That's nothing for nothing.
Except we might do a game show on Tuesday.
Yeah, that.
Otherwise, you'll find us here. Relay Station, Saturdays.
And Discord, where we talk about stuff
for you.
occasionally. Yeah, what's that?
We actually didn't mention this at all. We probably should mention it at least once. The Aerospace Expo is coming up.
Oh yeah, IAE.
IAE is coming up. So everybody, keep it on your calendars. Check it out. We'll be talking about it on here. Jax McCleary is back. Yeah. He will always be back, and every time he will look better with a new character model.
The one thing that I actually wanted to talk a little bit about IAE, but I forgot about it. I'm really excited for it. I really want to see what new ships they're gonna have, and I am going to get in game and fly for IAE because I want to fly my
Ares.
my Ares. That thing
The
looks
Starfighter.
It looks amazing, and I cannot wait to get in and try
incredible.
it out.
Also, they were teasing the planetary clouds on Microtech, which is fucking awesome.
They look so
incredible.
Good. It looks
And
so
I
good.
need a new computer.
Yeah.
And getting a new computer right now is not a thing that happens for any people.
It's okay. You don't.
Yeah.
I will look. I just got this like last year.
Uh-huh.
I
golden.
will be able to build a new PC in 5 years for the launch of Star Citizen.
Oh, he's being optimistic there. Actually, there's something we really need to talk about. We totally missed because it's actually a really important story. I can't believe we missed it, but we were talking a lot about the actual games, so that kind of makes sense. Cloud Imperium Games moving into a new studio in Manchester.
Yes. Forgot
They
about that.
will be hiring 300 new people in 2022 to fill out this studio, and then over the following 5 years, they will hire another 300 people to get to a 1,000-person headcount just in the UK studio by 2028.
You know what, guys?
They,
No, hang on. I'm pretty sure that Star Citizen is a scam. This is the number one way you scam people. You take all of their money and then you use that money to hire 1,000 people to make a video game. It's well known. It's almost as well known as a pyramid scheme. Don't have a name for it yet.
I think the name is Game Creation. Anyway, yeah, they're and that's only in the one studio. So by the end of next year, they should be up around 1,000 people in total, maybe a little over, among all the studios. I'm guessing by 2028, based on the other information, they could be up to 1,500.
That is really sizable.
All five studios. I've now decided that Turbulent is just I'm counting them as one of CIG's studios. So that's where I'm at.
You should go work for Turbulent.
But you really should.
You should.
You really should.
I'd rather save the world.
You could save the fake world.
Dave, the cheerleader, save the world.
All right. That is it for us for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and watching and hanging out. We'll see you. Come join us Tuesday. Honestly, Tuesdays are a lot of fun. Jake shows up and we talk about video games. Yeah.
Video games.
Yeah.
Video games are good. Go play some video games, everybody.
All right.
See you later.
Bye.